We are now live on Facebook.
Okay, 6 minutes showtime.
All right, Jerry.
The mics to make sure
You got it.
came through the storm for a purpose anyway.
Yeah. No, it sucked the drive this morning.
Yeah. It's not funny. Well, they said there were accidents and stuff. So.
Well, I felt really bad when I was
on
going.
like number 3 or 4. He's on 3.
Not 3.
When I was on Roseville Road, I just felt bad for all the homeless people that were out there in their tents.
You hear something?
No.
I have like radio.
Jerry?
I
Hello?
have a tiny head, remember?
Can you hear me now?
I have like radio.
Debbie, go ahead.
Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3.
A little closer and a little louder.
Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3.
Testing, testing.
All right.
All right.
Could you guys hear like advertisements going on in the background?
Yes.
Okay, just make sure I'm not the only one that can hear
Yeah,
it. 'Cause I'm
No,
like, I
Troy,
can't
we
talk
didn't
while
hear
I'm in that all
anything.
the
What are
time.
you talking about?
I mean,
Do you have those voices in your head again?
yeah.
So when this show started, we for a couple years we never did any video, and then we had Tina Reynolds from Uptown Studios. If you guys have heard of her before,
No.
It's a big studio in town that does a lot of PR and advertising stuff.
Okay.
But so she did Periscope.
Okay.
Periscope, if you ever heard Periscope. It's
Yes.
Yeah. So she did on Periscope when she was the guest. I'm like, oh, that's a great idea. So I did Periscope for a while, but the problem with Periscope is your audience is not really localized.
Oh,
And
that's
there's-
true.
So I mean, I had people on from Paris and Russia and China, which is great. But
It's
that's
cool,
not
yeah.
necessarily help
It's-
drive
yeah,
business
it's
to CLA and,
Yeah.
and say what.
That's interesting.
Yeah, and then some people on there and they were speaking a foreign language to each other back and forth. And I had no idea what they were saying. I'm like, this is probably not good.
Yeah, that's uncomfortable.
So then I went to Facebook Live, and so.
I mean, simulcasting radio is getting really popular now. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
the Dan Patrick Show does it.
Yep.
Rich
Oh, yeah.
Eisen, tons of people do it. It's cool.
Yep, I've never done Facebook Live yet, so I'm just, the old school.
Facebook Live is not. I mean, you don't have to be new school to do it.
I know, no, I just don't, I know people would find my life that interesting.
I don't have anything to
You never know.
The only videos I post now are baby and
Henry.
dog pictures.
Right.
Well, yeah, that's what I would do. I would do Kitty and Ollie, especially when they play together. So, and we got the new rug, and so we rolled up the other rug, and last night I'm calling Nicole because all I could see was this little tail and these little white feet sticking out, and the rug was rolled up, and there's this little, and I was laughing. I'm like, Nicole, come down, and she got out of there before Nicole could see, but it was really funny.
What's the 13th, right?
Are you gonna freeze up, Debbie? She said she freezes up on camera.
No, there's no actually like cameraman staring my face in my
Well, there's that camera's right there.
There's nothing,
Would you
no
stop
bright
that?
light.
Would you
It can
stop
see
that?
you.
No
Just
bright light
stop
going
You're
at
that.
you.
fine. You're fine.
No, well, because my boyfriend was an anchorman, so it was like they would like suddenly put me on camera, and I'd be like, every once. Well, I mean, I was fine, and then when I really realized it, I would suddenly like my brain would just disappear.
I was on Channel 3 one morning years ago when they had like a tax.
Okay.
It's the latest in the tax world, so I was
Yeah.
a guest for 30 seconds or however long you would be on, right? It's interesting being in the studio and watching all that.
How'd
Yeah.
you do?
And the green screen, for the weather and stuff. I did fine.
I knew all of
Because I
that.
had it, my script.
Yeah.
If I
Well,
like,
if
same
you
with
know what
speaking,
you're
if I know what I'm
talking
talking about, I'm totally comfortable. It's
Right.
when I have to ad-lib, that's when I start sweating and getting uncomfortable.
No,
Oh, yeah.
that's it, because they would ask me stuff just off the cuff, and I'd be like,
That's
and
more difficult,
it was
so.
just, it was like, but if you know what you're talking about, then you're fine.
I'll be when Jerry flashes me fingers, these are how many minutes are left. So
Okay.
just so you guys know.
And you
So I'm
and
not
Before
throwing, I'm
break.
not throwing signs. I'm just letting you know commercial breaks. Yeah.
Why are you
Throwing
throwing
signs.
gang signs at me, Mark?
What are we doing? What's
Are we supposed to run to first base?
That's the bunt signal. Lay down the bunt.
So I'm gonna play on a softball team.
Yeah.
I'm in Roseville. There's someone of my friends like sent something out on Facebook, and I was like, I haven't played for like 4 years, so there's this women's team.
Indoor or outdoor?
It's outdoor.
Nice.
So
You should do it.
Yeah, I will.
It's fun.
It's starting in March. No, I've done it many years. I mean, I've played softball for 100 years.
I used to play. Well, last year I did a league downtown. It was a good time, but
Softball?
yeah, our
Yeah, I
team was
played
terrible.
for
We just got killed. Never
It's a
came.
bar. It's like Irish.
De Beers?
No.
I love
It's-
De Beers.
It's
Good
like a
spot.
college one. A lot of people were. It's like a little hole in the wall.
Is it by Sac State?
An Irish bar. Huh.
Well, it's
Yeah.
That narrows it down.
I mean, our thing was a clover. We were green and white, and it was. Oh my goodness.
The Celtics.
Yeah, pretty close. You'd know.
Where is it?
you'd been there.
You know?
Oh, you know, me in Sacramento.
Is it Roseville or is it in
No,
Sacramento?
it's in Sac.
Okay. Is it near Sac State?
It's the turkey the turkey truck goes right by.
Club Toomey?
Toomey.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was Toomey.
You can walk there from my house.
Yeah, I figured as much.
Yeah.
So Club Toomey is who
Okay.
I played for. So we went.
All right, go on. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Beyond the Numbers on My 1055. I'm your host, Mark Bellows. I'm a tax principal with Clifton Larson Allen. CLA has offices throughout the U.S., including one in Roseville, which is where I reside. I'm on the tax side, so I work with manufacturing and distribution companies, real estate investors and developers, and construction companies primarily. I have other types of clients as well, but those are the primary ones. I work with the businesses, their owners, tax planning, tax strategy, all that exciting stuff. And it is that time of year, so we were all super busy working on taxes, and unfortunately people are finding out that what was told to them last year, which is that your refunds are going to be lower, is becoming true, and so people are surprised, and unfortunately, but yes, it's been known for a while, the taxes were cut, but then withholding was also cut, and so the refunds are kind of going down. So people are seeing that, but we're working our way through all that stuff. And also some of the more interesting, complicated stuff, the QBI deduction, the different changes with the business interest and all that kind of stuff. So a lot of stuff going on in the tax world for those of us that work in it. Very exciting time, very busy time. And for me, it's exciting because I actually have my boot off my foot. I broke my foot 8 weeks ago today, 8 weeks ago yesterday, sorry. And I had a cast for 4 weeks and now a boot for 4 weeks. And now I'm finally boot-free, cast-free, and trying to walk around, which is just a little painful. And then also in 2.5 weeks, I'm shaving my head again. This is the 9th year that I'm doing the fundraiser for St. Baldrick's. If you want to go to find out more about St. Baldrick's, it's stbaldricks.org. It's STBALDRICKS, stbaldricks.org. You can look up participant name Mark Bellows if you want to support me in my efforts. We raise funds by doing these head shave events, and there are a number of them in Sacramento coming up. We've got the Rosa one the first Saturday in March. We've got a couple at De Beers, one in Oakland, a couple other places. So we've got some ones, and St. Baldrick's, what they do is they do research into causes and cures of childhood cancer, or they fund the research, and including in those funds is somebody that goes to UC Davis, for instance. There's a researcher there who's gotten quite a bit of money from St. Baldrick's over the years to continue her research, and so it's a really great organization, a great cause. So I don't mind shaving my head once a year, but unfortunately to get there, I let my hair grow out, so I haven't cut it since December. It just feels so long, especially on the sides. I don't like it, so can't wait to. There's only so much product a guy can put in his hair to keep it going.
Don't look at me.
Without it looking too weird. So anyway, that's it. So again, stbaldricks.org. We've got a hair shave event at the Roseville coming up in a couple weeks. I'd love your support. Look under Mark Bellows as a participant on stbaldricks.org if you want to support the cause, or just go there and find support the cause in the other way if you would. So today I've got a couple guests with me. I've got Deborah Williams and Joey Desiderio. Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning. How you guys doing?
Good, thank you.
Dry.
Dry, yes. We made it here.
Exactly.
It's a little rainy here in Sacramento. Traffic was a little slow coming into the studio. Or really slow, depending on which way you came.
Really slow.
Yeah, really slow. So Deb and I both came from the same part of town. And it's wet out there, so try to stay dry. So I've got both Debbie and Deborah, who goes by Debbie, and Joey, and both of you guys work with Clifton Larson, work with me at CLA. Both of you are professional search advisors. And so maybe Debbie, you want to tell us what you guys do as professional search advisors?
Well, basically what we do is we work with the principals at CLA, at Clifton Larson Allen, and we help with their clients. So it would be like Mark, you would be with a client, and the client would say, hey, you know, Mark, we're having a problem in our accounting department. We just had an accountant walk out, or a project manager that just walked out. I work real estate and construction, so
Okay.
we more towards that way. But a professional that they work with just either left or is thinking of leaving, or somebody's retiring or so forth, and they say, you know, can you help? Do you know of anybody? And then, you know, you can say, hey, we have a division called Professional Search that can help you out. And then what we do is talk with you and the client and really get the job description, get everything that's going on, and help them find people. So
Okay, so
that's what we do. So
professional search advisors. So you work
Exactly.
with clients, whether they're clients of well, all of them are clients of CLA, of course. Whether or not it's an existing client, maybe a new client, but you work with
Right.
someone and helping
Mhm.
them find
talent.
talent. There you go. Thank
Yeah.
you. And so Debbie, you said you mentioned you work with construction and real estate, and then Joey, you work with.
Agribusiness, cooperatives, and technology.
Okay.
Nationally.
So, and you're the national leader, Joey, right?
Yes.
And Debbie, you're the national leader
Correct.
for construction and real estate.
Mhm.
So we've got two national leaders in our Sacramento. You're both in the Roseville office here, in
Mhm.
Sacramento with me. And so, so maybe a little bit of background. Joey, how about you? How long have you been with CLA? What did you do before that?
Yeah, I've been with CLA since October.
Okay.
Came on board from a national insurance broker called USI Insurance.
Okay.
Great company. Worked there. Did national recruiting for them. And one day, my manager, Dave Hickman, knocked on my door through LinkedIn and talked to me about an opportunity to come work at CLA, and now I'm here. But did go to San Diego State, which
Yes, go Aztecs.
Go Aztecs.
Yes.
Had to mention that.
Yeah. And so did you grow up in San Diego, or how did you end up at San Diego State?
I grew up in Los Angeles.
LA, okay.
And yeah, two sisters all went to San Diego State, so
Are
we're
you a
just.
Dodger fan?
I am a
Oh,
Dodger
so sorry to
fan.
hear that.
Oh yeah,
Giants.
back-to-back World Series are really tough to go to.
Yeah, yeah, they are tough. So as a Padre fan, I wouldn't know what that's like.
Yeah, definitely not.
Okay, so grew up in grew up in LA, San Diego State,
Mhm.
and then what did you do what was your degree in?
My degree was in journalism and communications.
Okay.
Yeah, so I actually started off at Enterprise. I graduated during the recession in 2009. From a talent perspective, that was a much different
yeah.
time, which we'll get into, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Started at Enterprise
Which enterprise were at?
in Thousand Oaks, California.
Okay,
Yeah.
I had a buddy of mine from college who has gone into do various things, but he started at Enterprise.
Mhm.
He was in the I think La Mesa, or I think it's an El Cajon one.
Okay, yeah.
actually, right off of.
They
right
have
off of
branches
80.
everywhere.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah.
But for him, that was a good start. I mean, he really.
Definitely.
He's done very well in his career. So Enterprise taught him a lot,
Mhm.
I think, in terms of all kinds of things. Because you could do a lot when you started Enterprise, right?
Oh yeah, you learn about accountability, sales, how to run a business, customer service. I mean, literally everything. It's a tough job, and I have a lot of respect for people that do it, especially on rainy days like today.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Debbie, how about you? Where did you go to school? And
Well, I went to Cal Poly San Luis
Oh,
Obispo,
okay.
so
Mustang?
I'm from there. Mustangs.
Mustang,
yes,
alright.
yes. So went there. Originally from Oregon, was Oregon, Washington, and then moved to the Bay Area, and graduated from there. Went to Cal Poly, and then when I
what
got
was your
out,
degree in?
mine was business management.
Okay.
So in finance, I kind of had a finance wing to it too. But from there, I went and I was a stockbroker. So started with Dean Witter and worked in New York for a little while. Then went to Schwab,
Okay.
and from there, basically started in the training and development area actually, and then hired 3,200 people in our division in Denver.
Okay. And then so doing that, that's when you kind of transitioned into doing this as a career.
We moved to Salt Lake, and there I was doing some just consulting for Schwab and Fidelity, and then put out my resume. Recruiter called me and said, "Have you ever thought of doing this?" And that's how I got started.
All right. Well, we're going to go to commercial break. We're talking with Debbie Williams and Joey Desiderio.
Desiderio.
Well, I know that.
It's
Joey
okay.
Desiderio.
It's okay.
Both with Clifton Larson Allen, the professional search advisors. We'll be right back.
Doing great. So far, so good.
So far, so good. You guys are doing great.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
Enterprise.
where am I
That's a grind. anybody that can work there.
Well, and he moved around from place. Did you move around from multiple locations? Or
I didn't even make it that long. I lasted for a year.
Okay.
I hated doing it. You have to wear a shirt and tie every day, and you're washing cars and running around.
Washing cars?
You have to wash cars.
Oh my
yeah,
goodness,
wash
I didn't
cars.
know that.
Wash cars, vacuum cars. Like, and people are
Phenomenal.
so rude too. I mean, Thousand Oaks is kind of a it's a
Oh, nice
ritzy
area.
area.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
it's similar to
Right.
Roseville.
Yeah.
It's a nice area, and so people just are very entitled and really want, if they have a Porsche, they want a Porsche. And I'm like, I can give you a Malibu.
Like, no Malibu.
There's specialties.
And you're back. You're listening to Beyond the Numbers. Jerry, that's kind of an upbeat bumper there. Very nice. Very nice. Mark Bellows here. I'm a host of the show. I work from Clifton at Larson Allen. I'm a tax principal. If you want to get a hold of me, it's 916-784-7800 or mark.bellows@CLAconnect.com. And today I've got Debbie Williams and Joey Desiderio. I see now it's a mental blank. Joey Desiderio. If you want to get a hold of them, it's debi.williams@CLAconnect.com. or joey.desiderio, Desiderio, @CLAconnect.com. So you were mentioning to Joey and I earlier, Debbie, that you were actually, when you were at Schwab, you went on the radio, right? You did the,
No, actually, when I was at Dean Witter.
Okay.
So when I
Prior.
first graduated, what I did was I was in the San Luis Obispo area, so actually I was in Santa Maria. And I did the San Luis Obispo Rock and Roll Radio wrap-up for the stock market. So twice a day we came on and did that. So I've had a little
Not a familiar.
Not a lot.
So you got into the talent and hired all the 3,200 people.
So we opened a call center in Denver. So I was in the Bay Area, then I was in New York, and then I was in Denver. And we opened a call center there, and we ended up hiring 3,200 people. So I was part of that. And then we would train people. So I developed a course, because I was a trader too, and basically how to be a broker in a day, or at least give quotes, because it was the time when the market was just zooming.
Right.
So we need to fill our rooms. So did training development, was manager of training development, and then we ended up moving to Salt Lake, and I started flipping houses, and I was consulting for Schwab and Fidelity, and then put in my resume to a local recruiter. And he was like, you have a lot of experience, in hiring and a lot of other things. Have you ever thought of being a recruiter? That's what happened. So anyway, that's kind of it. So I have experience in a lot of different ways, a lot of human resources background in a lot of different areas, and so that's how I started, and it was great.
So flipping houses. So this was a little before the reality TV boom of flipping
It was
houses.
completely before that. It was completely.
Could have been a star. You could have been Joanna Gaines.
Yeah, so I've built and flipped 11 houses actually.
Okay.
So, and then I actually built my own pool in my backyard. I was the contractor on it, and I subbed it out. I ended up tiling it, doing things. So when subs
Nice.
with contractors, subs don't always come
Yeah.
when they're supposed to.
So when the recruiter told you that, did you get hired on with that recruiter?
Yes, he was the owner of the company.
So how long did you work for him?
So 5 years.
And then what did you do?
So, and then I actually moved from there, and we moved out here to the Sac area, and I started my own firm. And so I worked from home and had some people around the country that I worked with in different areas. But I did mostly a lot of finance accounting, because that's what I've always done.
Right.
And then I did a lot of biotech in the Bay Area. So that's kind of.
And how long did you do that for?
13 years. So I was able to do that while I had my kids, and as they grew to a point where I could kind of go out again into the world.
Is that when
not
you came
in
to
homes.
CLA?
No,
Where was
actually
that?
I was at UC Davis before.
That's right, you see.
And then came
How long
up-
were you at Davis?
I was at Davis for 3 years,
Years,
and
okay.
then got that call from our boss Dave Hickman in Indianapolis, and he said, "Hey, have you ever thought of doing this again?" And it kind of told me about the company, and love it. So absolutely, I'm excited to be here, thrilled.
So Dave recruited both of you guys on
He
your
did.
board. So, and that's part of a strategy to grow this practice within CLA. So how long has the practice been within CLA?
It started last February.
Okay.
So it's pretty new.
Yeah.
But basically, what we do is kind of exactly what Dave did. So a lot of people, you know, when they first have a job opening or whatever, they put out an ad, obviously, or they call their friends network and they put out an ad. Well, you know, what we do as recruiters, Joey and I, is we actually go out and recruit candidates passively, kind of like what Dave did with that. We weren't looking, you know, we were happy in what we were doing.
Right.
And he called us up, tapped us on the shoulder and went, that sounds interesting. And so that's exactly what we do.
Now, do you guys, you're not a placement agency, if you will, right?
Correct.
So if someone comes in and says, hey, I'm looking for a job, can you help find me a CFO position or a controller position? That's really not what you guys do, right? You're working for the company looking to hire versus for individuals trying to place them somewhere.
We find people for jobs. We don't find jobs for people.
Okay.
But I've been a career counselor over the time too, especially in the recession when Joey talked about, you know, it's one of the things that I've done.
Yeah, no, you definitely summed it up well.
So, CLA saw this opportunity and said this would be great. I mean, great opportunity. You know, one of the things that CLA is about is creating opportunities for its clients. And so, so how did you guys decide to what areas of emphasis to work in? So for Joey, for instance, you're agribusiness and tech.
Yeah, the reason why I got those industries, well, it's actually a funny story. Debbie and I interviewed for the same job, oddly enough, and Debbie got that job with construction and is doing a great job. And agribusiness and cooperatives was an area that we were looking to grow, probably later on this year, but due to opportunity, Dave liked both of us and liked what we brought to the table, so we ended up moving forward a little bit sooner and moving into that industry because ABC is what we call it. Right. Agribusiness and cooperatives is an area that we're going to grow substantially in the next several years. And technology is actually the same way. We just got a new leader of industry for technology out of Seattle, very growth oriented. His name is Patrick Smith, and he and I are working together on a position right now. So that's another area that we're really looking to grow in the next several years.
Okay. So agribusiness cooperatives and then Debbie, you're with construction and real estate. So what levels do you guys find? What levels of talent do you find?
We do bookkeeper on up to the controller, basically. So we have a division with CLA that does executive placement. So they do more of the CFO, COO, the C-level positions.
Gotcha.
So we do on down.
If someone needed a C-level position, that you guys could work with them and our other divisions.
Yeah. We would put them together, and you know, everything with CLA is very seamless, and we try to make sure that, you know, we just do things to make our clients happy is what we're here to do.
So accounting, what other?
Accounting, operations, HR, and just to touch on something Debbie just said, titles are kind of arbitrary at times. Sometimes CFOs or CEOs might be the CEO of themselves, or which is totally fine. That's great. Or a CFO of a smaller company isn't truly a CFO always. They may be more of a controller or a bookkeeper. Right. So it's more about, you know, we talk to our clients and understand what the person will be doing rather than just going off of strictly a title. And we want to advise them on the type of person they should be hiring as well.
Well, that's a good lead into the next thing. Maybe kind of touch on what the process is. So if I've got a client, or if I'm just listening today on the show and say, hey, I think we need someone in our accounting division or whatever. So what would they do? They would call you guys.
Yeah.
Where would you go from there?
You would hopefully connect us. And CLA's motto is we promise to know you and help you. Right. So we want to really know our client in a number of different ways. So first, Mark, if you had a client, we'd want to talk to you and get the background on that client, how long you've worked with them for, you know, what their industry is, what their business is. And then we would all hop on a call together or meet face to face and learn about that business from inside out. We really want to understand the history of the position, whether it's newly created or if somebody was released from the role, because what we find is that retention and finding good candidates is really about finding the right cultural fit. And you find the right cultural fit first and foremost by being honest and candid with people, whether that's the client or the candidate. So we want to make sure that they know the history and understand what they're walking into.
And the other thing is really having the principals that we work with and managers and directors with CLA that know their clients, they know the culture, and then we bring you guys into the process too. So what we do is narrow down the candidates. We talk to a lot of people, tap them on the shoulder just like Dave did with us, and we narrow it down to like 5 people. Then Mark, we would have you interview those 5 people either by phone or in person or whatever, and look over the background and see what you thought. And so, because you know your client, you know the culture,
Right.
and that's what we're looking for you to look at.
Gotcha. Okay, that makes sense. Sounds like a process that's been working. And so, how long does it take typically?
You know, it depends. It depends on the level and the market. I know Debbie is working on a position in the Bay Area right now, which is going to be more of a challenge to fill. On the other side, I was actually recently working on a role at a funeral home, which does not fall under agribusiness or technology.
It's not much.
Yeah.
There's some technology in funerals.
Some technology, yeah. They were located out of Ohio, and our total search took 11 business days between when we first spoke to the client and when the person accepted the offer.
Not the norm, the norm at all.
And it's 11 days. I mean, obviously 11 days would be quick, but it can take months because you've got, again, to your point, which I think is important, is figuring out the culture of the firm and trying to find the right fit for that culture. So it's important for you guys that you've got your stable of people, if you will. You've got all your connections of people that you know would be better looking, or they could be looking, or ones you could talk to when you're looking for a position to fill a position.
Right.
So
It's typically like 2 to 4 months, really. That's what it would take.
Yeah.
Because we really, it also depends, holidays, during things, vacations, that kind of thing, and we really want to work it around your client's schedule, and so scheduling can be part of that.
Okay.
Right. Especially for higher level positions when you're dealing with CFOs, CEOs, possibly board of directors. It's tough to get on people's calendars.
Sure.
It can take longer.
Yeah.
Well, and right now, like one that I'm working on is executive project management for a real estate company in the San Jose area, and that's a very high level position. So it's going to find the right candidate it's kind of a needle in a haystack. So that's going to take a little while.
And that role is not necessarily, a project management, that's not necessarily an accounting background solely, right?
Yeah, we don't do just accounting. We do, we'll do, like for me, any kind of, I'm not going to do the people that, hang drywall or paint or things like that, but on up, we basically do that. So estimators, schedulers, more management type positions in the functions of construction real estate, but kind of that way. So project management, this is project executive, which is very high level.
Right. So Bay Area and all around the country, right? So you guys are both national leaders, so you work with clients throughout the United States.
Yeah.
Any international stuff ever, or is it just solely
Yes.
at this point?
Actually, I'm working on a position right now with a company moving here from somewhere in South America. The country is escaping me right now, but they're opening up a location in Miami. So one of the things we do is we really advise our clients, and they came to us and didn't know how much they should pay. They didn't know if they should offer benefits. They didn't know if they should have PTO, or if the person should have a high school degree or a master's degree. So we really understand what they're looking for by having a conversation and then advising them from there.
And you are working with them, Joey?
Yes.
So they're Miami, you're here in California. But again, in today's world, that doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Tell me how much of you guys, maybe give me an idea, how much of it's face-to-face and how much of it is Skype or web?
We do interview everybody, on the phone first, and then we do video interviews. So we do meet everybody that we talk to that way, if they're not local. But I'm working in Seattle, I'm working in Minneapolis right now. Joey's in Miami. All over the place.
Ohio.
So there's a lot of different positions around. So we get all kinds of different leads. So I've worked all over the United States my whole career, and I've been doing it over 25 years. And it doesn't matter. If you're good at really figuring out what the needs are of the client and have the personality of the candidate and what they're both looking for, if it's a fit, that's what we're looking for, is really to see that is a good match, that culturally and technically.
Culturally, technically, it's a good match. And so, how many active openings are you guys working on at this point?
I have 4.
Give me a rough idea. Okay.
Right now I have 1 because I closed out the other ones I was working on.
Okay. So
He's speed against all this.
Yeah. 11 days, something new.
Yeah.
There.
Please.
Yeah. So you work on from 1 to 4.
Yeah.
We really, some of us, I think some of the recruiters, so there's 7 of us around the country, and in different divisions. We've got AJ that's in,
Go to commercial.
okay, great.
Back to that. Well, let's go to commercial, come back, we'll continue with the conversation. We're talking with
Perfect.
Joey Desiderio and Deborah Williams,
Debbie.
CLA Connect. We'll be right back. Pushing your name.
It's okay. Just say
it's
Joey
good.
D.
And everybody calls me Deborah, and I hate Deborah. I've never been called Deborah in my whole
Debbie.
life. Except for my mom, Deborah Jean, then I knew I was in trouble.
Something
So-
that I think we didn't talk about enough just now, but I'd like to touch on if possible, was the type of people that we look at.
Okay.
Because
Yeah.
we haven't really talked about the passive market versus the active market. So
Good.
Yeah,
That's
good.
that's really a
I
key
want to
thing.
go to that. I was gonna
you asked about process, and then we just kind of got sidetracked from
Yeah.
there.
So type of people, maybe touch a little bit more on the process.
Yeah.
Again,
Yeah.
or maybe a little bit deeper.
I can
Also
walk through
fee,
process, and then you can talk about the passive candidate market.
Sure.
and then maybe something on the fee structure.
Do you wanna
us
get into
do
that?
I mean, not necessarily specifics, but just an idea. So
Yeah.
People.
We
'cause
can
can
say
talk
that
about-
we give a break to our clients. Basically.
No, look, I think we should do contingent versus retained.
Okay.
Yeah,
Don't
that's
you
good.
think?
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just because typically I think people like me, before knowing about you guys, I would think, oh, a recruiter, they're going to take 30% of the salary, and that's the end of the game. So
Yeah, and our fees are great.
yeah, it's
We
different.
do
So
this,
let's get into that.
I mean, it's the
That'd be good.
lowest fee I've ever. I mean, I've worked 33 1/3 and 25. I'd never done anything lower than that.
Yeah.
We did a lot of 20s in
Crazy.
Phoenix, but that was like in 2013 when the market was still
Well,
Yeah.
you were
on the
with
rebound.
Right.
Robert.
Oh, they didn't want us to do that. We had to
Oh.
because that's what
Oh.
competitors were doing, 15,
Yeah.
18% just to get the
Yeah.
business. Yeah, that was a
I
tough
always-
time.
See, that's when I actually did retained because I didn't like that. I felt like this contingent was just a horse race and they had just things out everywhere, and I like to control the process. So,
Yeah.
it was because I mean, it's just through experience because I was just so.
Yeah. I feel you.
You feel me? Feel the pain?
2 minutes.
It's coming down out there. I keep looking outside.
Oh, it was
Was it
just
more?
the
Oh,
drive.
fantastic.
I didn't know what. I mean, I was out here at 7:30, so
Yeah.
or no,
Oh,
it's
you were?
like 7:25. Yeah,
Because you don't know.
yeah.
And going back, I'm sure Biz 80 is going to be.
Well, I didn't do 80. I did all the side.
Oh, you did.
The way the GPS told me to go because I only listen to GPS because I don't listen to my brain because I would be in
Waze? Do you use
Alaska
Waze or
somewhere.
do you use-
Oh no, I use
Oh.
just whatever the Google Maps thing.
Okay.
I have, or,
I
don't know
use
what it is.
Waze all the time.
Yeah, I used to do that, so
Yeah.
haven't lately.
It's
But
pretty good.
Are you
yeah.
going into the office after this?
Yep. And I'll go Biz 80, and I know it's going to be flooded by like Fulton or
Probably.
Fulton and Auburn because it always floods there, and I'm sure they can't drain fast enough. So
Yeah.
I'll have
I got a
to
4-wheel drive Jeep. I'll be okay.
You'll be
Right
fine.
there.
Yeah, me and my little putt-putt electric
Your
car
golf
on like
cart.
the little golf cart thing. I know I might have to go get
You better have
charged
to go on
up
the shoulder
somewhere.
to get past that
Exactly.
That floods in the
So I love my little Leaf.
It's a cool car.
It
It really
is a
is.
Is that what you have, a
great
Nissan
car.
Leaf?
Yeah,
That's a nice
Nissan
car,
Leaf.
yeah.
It's ideal for our weather conditions 95% of
Yeah,
the year.
absolutely.
You know?
Yeah.
And I mean, the charging thing now, working so close. I mean, at UC Davis every day at lunch I had to go charge it, and that was just because before I'd have
You
to charge
should
in my
drive in.
parking lot.
Yeah.
They moved us. Or you were going to ask too what we're seeing in the market.
What's
what
that?
we're seeing in the market too.
Yeah, we'll
What's
get there.
happening?
Yep, yep.
The ghosting thing.
Oh, yeah.
And we're back. You're listening to Beyond the Numbers on Mighty 105.5. I am Mark Bellows. I work with my clients to avoid the tax man, or at least minimize the pain from the tax man. Tax principal with Clifton Larson Allen. CLA has offices throughout the United States, including one in Roseville, which is where I reside. I work with manufacturers and distributors, real estate investors and developers, and contractors, the businesses, their owners, tax planning, tax strategy, tax structuring, that sort of thing. A lot going on in the business in my client base in the last number of months. Some mergers and acquisition type stuff, people opening new businesses. So business is definitely busy and things are growing. And we've got today as guests Debi Williams and Joey Desiderio, both with CLA Connect, CLA, our firm here with Larson Allen. And you get them at Debi.Williams@CLA Connect or Joey Desiderio at Joey.Desiderio@CLAConnect.com. And so we were talking right before the break about the fact that we mentioned that CLA with this professional search is a relatively new division within CLA, relatively new service offering, and probably shouldn't call it a service offering. It's a relatively new thing that we provide to our clients, which is professional search in these areas. And so you two here are in Roseville, and Debi is the national leader for real estate and construction. So any real estate or construction opportunities we've got throughout the United States would be worked through you.
Right.
And then Joey's with ABC, agribusiness, cooperatives, beverages. Is that the B? I always forget the B's kind of. But ABC and also tech. And so any of those opportunities throughout the U.S. go through Joey, plus funeral homes now.
And pig farms, hog farms.
Yep.
But we also service a whole lot of other industries. So you mentioned Debi before the break. We've got a total of 7 people now.
Yeah, I think it's 7, right? Mm-hmm. So we have Christina. She's up in based out of Washington, and she does healthcare.
Okay.
Then we have Octavia, and she's out of Washington D.C. She just moved from New York, and she does more of the nonprofit and a little bit of
higher
education. Thanks.
Okay.
And then there's AJ and Bob that are in Lexington or Massachusetts, so Boston area. And AJ does manufacturing and distribution,
Yep.
and Bob does financial institutions. And am I missing anybody?
So we cover a whole lot of you and your teams cover a whole lot of industries.
Right, and we also have a hub in Indianapolis where our boss is out of, and then we have sourcers and some recruiters there that help us. So if we get too busy, like I was saying, we handle like 8 to 10 positions. We can kind of handle on our base like 5 to be able to do the sourcing work with our clients and do all that stuff to keep everybody with the best service. So we do have people that help us there, which is really nice. So we have a team there.
So let me ask you guys, we'll start with you, Joey. What is different between what you did before and how you do it through CLA?
Yeah, that's a great question. I used to work after Enterprise. I worked with a local agency, and they have offices nationally. And what the majority of recruitment agencies do is they work on a contingent basis. And what that means is that they will work on a position, but they don't get compensated for the work that they do until somebody is actually hired. And that's a product of the industry and how they're compensated. And what they do as a result is they will try to get somebody hired as quickly as possible. So Mark, your client needs a controller, you call a local agency. That agency is going to look at their stack of resumes and say, these 5 resumes say controller on it, let's send it to that client. Without much thought about the industry specialization or the culture, or if the commute or a number of factors are the right fit or not. And what CLA does is I do a custom search for every client that we work on. And when I say I mean we do custom searches for everything that we work on. I don't have a desk of candidates. When a client comes to me in Seattle and says I need a controller, I don't tell them I have 15 candidates ready to go. We're going to learn about them, and then we're going to go to the market with a customized approach to find them the right person. And like I said before, we promise to know you and help you. My biggest way of helping clients is by saving them time. Our process is very in-depth, and all they really have to do is spend a couple hours with a few candidates, and they can make an offer to somebody from there.
And so one of the things that you guys do as part of this, you narrow down that candidate pool to them so that they don't have to deal with 15 or 30 or 60. And Joe and I were talking about this before we went on the air, is that I've got some friends in business and I've some business associates that like to do their own hiring, and so they'll read through 60 resumes, depending on the market. Maybe nowadays it's 6 resumes, but 60 resumes or whatever it is, and then call people and work with them and meet them and stuff. And it's just a lengthy process. And if you're a small business or even a medium-sized business, you might do that not very frequently. So it's like, number one, you're not a recruiter, you don't really understand the whole business and the way it works. And number two, if you do it not regularly but periodically here and there, it's just like, if I may learn how to do a particular function, but if I don't do it regularly, it's tough for me to get good at it.
Well, and also having a third party too, you can ask questions. We can ask questions of the people and find out more about them. We really get to know the candidates, and we get to know really what they want, what their future aspirations are, their goals, and we want to make sure that the company aligns. So really finding that culture fit and making sure, and that's why we have bring in the principals too. So it's really different because we do, we really do the customized search where we find passive candidates. We're not out running ads or anything like that. We're finding those people. We're directly recruiting those types of people. And then we ask them so many questions about all kinds of different things to make sure that this is the right company. Because, construction, if I've got somebody that came out of an Ivy League that's very button up and is offended by cuss words and so forth, and, they go into a construction office, they might not fit in, So we really look for that fit.
To find the right culture fit. So what's the fee structure for someone who uses Quick Larson Allen's professional search?
So I kind of mentioned this before. I'll start and I'll let you take over. On a contingent search, you're going to get the immediate resumes that are available to a recruiter. We work on a retained basis, which means that we will go out and go to market with a brand new strategy to find people. And our structure is we have preferred pricing for CLA clients, and we also break our fee structure into 3 separate payments. So there's a deliverable each step of the way. 1/3 is paid to begin a search. 1/3 is due once our clients actually approve resumes and want to meet people face to face, and then a final 1/3 is due at the end when somebody accepts an offer.
So with smaller companies, it makes it more, they're not paying a huge amount up front or whatever.
Yeah,
and it's not, our fees are really reasonable comparatively. We're, like 10-20% less than most. And then we do also offer a 120-day guarantee, where most companies, the contingent companies, are like 30 to 60 days at the max.
Is that right?
Yeah, so, and most people know that they're gonna leave a company, or most people know that somebody's not gonna work out within 90 days. That's typical.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. So 90 days you can tell them, and the CLA guarantee is 120. Okay.
And talking about cost and association with cost when it comes to recruiting people, if you were to go to the passive market as a business owner and try to find somebody, you have to pay for a LinkedIn recruiter seat, which costs thousands of dollars.
Right.
Tons of thousands
Yeah,
of dollars.
or hire a recruiter, which will cost you even more in compensation and benefits. And if all they're doing is hiring one person every year or every couple of years, it's really not cost effective to hire somebody.
No, not at all.
Permanently.
Yeah, no, and running the ads are super expensive too. So, and you don't, people aren't looking at ads right now.
Well, I was going to say the market's changed, and again, we were talking about this before we went on the air, but the market has changed. Some years ago, well, a lot of years ago, but people would place an ad and in the paper, and they'd look at the ad in the paper, look for and then of course things moved a couple decades ago to online, and so then you had what were some of the sites you could have? People would put the resumes up.
Monster, Indeed,
Career Builder,
all that type of stuff.
And then someone would place an ad in, again, Craigslist or one of those. But, I mean, it's changed a lot. Now LinkedIn really has become very popular, so it's and a good source of both jobs and candidates. So it's really changed a lot, and so I think someone who understands the way the market is and can find the best access to candidates is going to be the most successful.
Well, yeah, because right now, it's 4% unemployment, and with me in the Bay Area, actually, in construction, it's 1% in construction. So it is crazy. So if you run an ad, they're not finding people, and it's tough because they're not finding the people.
Speaking of the Bay Area, we have access to some reporting that tells us what compensation levels are and what the market looks like from a number of jobs available perspective. There were 4,000 controller positions posted in the Sunnyvale area.
Wow.
4,000. And in
what time period?
In a year.
Okay.
Yeah. And additionally, only 1 in every 6 positions was being filled.
Wow.
So that means that you're competing with all those other companies to find talent.
Yeah. It's a good market for employees right now. That's for sure. And as I'm sure you guys are seeing, people are it's easy to move from one job to another right now because there's such a need.
Well, and we're finding that that's a problem because what's happening is somebody will accept a job and they'll not show up. And so employers will call and say, hey, it's ghosting. That's what they're doing. They're ghosting. It's kind of like a date. They're just not showing up or calling you back or anything.
Ghosting moved from Tinder over to employment.
And did that used to happen much? I never really heard about. Yeah. And of course, it's not in the bad times, but even in good times, would people still not show up to the first? And you're seeing that now, right? I've heard about that. It's a trend that people won't show up. And again, even when we've had great employment in the past of our history, you didn't see that happening.
It's
a
crazy.
Strange phenomenon.
I think it's because, I mean, they go to the higher, if they're not working, they're gonna look at the highest dollar amount, and they'll go, oh, I just got, 10,000 more up the street, and so I'm going there.
Not only dollar amount, but younger generations, they value work-life balance.
Yeah, and we'll get into that a little bit when we get back from break. About some of the things that you guys the candidates are looking for today.
Mm-hmm.
You're listening to Beyond the Numbers on Money 105.5. We'll be right back.
Tongue twisters.
Did I show you that MZ report?
No, I haven't seen it.
It's
That's
crazy.
why I was like, I gotta look at
yeah.
that.
The salaries in the Bay Area for controllers, the average was $168,000, I believe. For a controller.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I told the client that, didn't even blink. It's like, okay, sounds right. So this is interesting. Speaking of ghosting.
Oh, it's the one from Dana.
Yeah.
Okay.
Last week, this controller walked in to CFO's office and just quit. Said, I'm done. Walked out. And then the next week, this week, he came back into work and showed up.
That's weird.
Yeah.
What about the work ethic for a younger generation?
Oh.
Well, this
What are
one's-
you
go.
talking
I'm
about?
This one's on you.
I'm a millennial.
But you're not the typical. I mean,
My wife is a millennial too.
But you guys are hard working. It just depends. I mean, everything's a little different.
Well, there are plenty of hard workers. I was reading an article yesterday about a guy who has developed, a boom to clean up plastic from the ocean.
Oh yeah,
He's
I've
had
seen.
talks-
I've
and
read
he's
that one.
18.
Yeah,
I've heard
I know.
about that before.
Yeah,
It's pretty cool.
it's awesome.
Yeah.
Because we have that big plastic thing. Ugh.
Let's bash millennials on this segment.
Sounds good.
No. We're back. You listen to Beyond the Numbers on Money 105.5. I'm the host, Mark Bellows. This is a weekly business talk show where we bring in various people from throughout the business community here in the greater Sacramento area. Entrepreneurs, business owners, advisors, that sort of thing. And today, my guests, I have two guests, and they're both with Clifton Larson Allen, the firm I am also with. So I've got Debi Williams and Joey Desiderio, and they're both professional search advisors. So Debi works in the construction and real estate, and in fact is the national leader in that area. And then Joey is in agribusiness, cooperatives, and technology, and is the leader in that area, national leader in that area. And they both reside here in Roseville office. And we were mentioned before the break, last segment, that CLA has about 7 altogether of these professional search advisors that work throughout the country with positions. And our model, the CLA model, is a little different, perhaps than some others, because for the various reasons that have been cited in terms of determining culture fit, finding the right candidate, that sort of thing. And again, I mean, I'm sure other recruiters all say the same thing. I mean, similar things, right? Oh, we probably right fit fee, blah blah. But I think not being contingent is also a big piece of it too, as well. So that there's not a big rush to place somebody ASAP.
Well, and also too, we don't base our fee on the compensation. A lot of times,
Which is another one, yeah.
contingency.
Yeah.
You'll want a higher dollar. No,
Yeah.
this person should be. So what we get actually is we have a system that we get data analytics on. So what you said is we work all over the United States. I can't be over in Indianapolis or Cincinnati or whatever. I'm not going to go out there. I would if I could, but it's not feasible. But what we do is we run these data analytics for the area. So we'll take wherever we're working, the zip code, and we'll look at kind of a market snapshot. So it gives you what's going on in the market for the position, how many positions are being filled, and so forth. And Joey was talking earlier just about controllers in the Bay Area. So I mean, it gives a really good just a snapshot of what's going on in the market by compensation and so forth. So they know when they look that this is from the Bureau of Labor Statistics too, the information. So it actually is accurate. It's not like salary.com, which is good, but people tend to boost up their salaries a little bit. So it's accurate. So we can tell somebody this is what they're paying and this is how many jobs are posted. This is your competition. So it's a great way to be able to tell clients, here you go. Here's what's going on in the market in your area. And
so what are some of the general trends we're seeing in the market? Let's say start with employees. What do they, clearly besides having lots of opportunities and starting to see some ghosting, but what are some of the other trends?
So compensation always matters. I'm not going to sit here and pretend it doesn't, but there are a lot of other factors that matter too. Something I see a lot is remote work opportunity.
Okay.
People want to be able to work remotely.
Is that all the time, or at least part of their time?
Part of the time.
Okay.
Some people want all the time, and in that case, if the company is open to it, that's an individual basis. But a lot of remote work is what people are seeking right now. Also benefits. A lot of people have poor benefits at their current employer, and they're really looking for something that's significantly better than what they have right now.
And in what types of benefits? Because that can be a broad term.
That is a broad term. I guess you can call remote work a benefit.
Yeah.
You know,
But
medical,
is it like
vision.
medical, dental, 401ks, that kind of benefit? Or is it other things as well?
Everything. I mean, sometimes they ask me, what's the culture? What do they do for holidays? What do they do? Do we have a holiday party? Do we have something, during the summer? Do they celebrate? Do we, are employees important to them?
Dress
and that's
code.
part of it. Yeah, dress code. I mean, is it casual? Is it not? All kinds of things. So it goes beyond just the standard medical, dental, but
Okay.
they expect that. And so some companies, especially when they're really small, I was talking to a principal a little while ago, and there was a company in Florida, and they had no benefits, nothing. I mean, no vacation the first year, no medical, no dental, no anything. I ended
And
up
that's a challenging
not
situation.
working with that client.
Yeah, that's a challenging
Yeah.
situation to try to bring a candidate in because,
Yeah.
again, it's really a candidate's market right now, right? And again, 5, 6, 8 years ago, different story. You could have possibly had better luck finding someone. I wouldn't say gotten away with it, but you could have better luck finding someone if you didn't offer, or if you had different, maybe less benefits, that sort of thing. So,
Yeah.
so candidates want benefits, and that can be all encompassing. But so. What trends are we seeing with employers?
Employers are trying to do as much on the benefit side as they can. I mean, they really are. I mean, they're trying to go out and, like CLA, we have a lot of these. I mean, bringing food in, games, having a fun work environment. Those are things that employers are really trying to, especially ones that are educated in what's going on in the market. The ones that aren't as educated, and some of that falls in my area, is we, it's part of us to help educate them on what's going on. But Joy, what else are you seeing?
So employers are seeing that, like you alluded to earlier, Mark, you can't just post an ad and find people anymore. I have a specific example. I spoke to a client in Seattle. He's a CFO of a technology company, posted an ad for a controller. He had 70 people apply. 70,
Okay.
70. One person was actually qualified for their company.
So let me ask you, did he call each of those, or at least respond to each of those 70 and try to
He did not.
talk to them?
No, I don't believe so.
Because
So
I'm just thinking again how much work that is.
yeah,
for someone.
so it's
Yeah.
tough to apply
So
online.
70, and then you end up having one that was qualified.
One that was qualified, he called him, scheduled an interview, they had communication. A couple hours before the interview, the person decided just not to show up. They had another offer and they decided to take it. So that's the tough thing. It's tough for employers, it's tough for candidates. If you apply for a job, you may not hear anything.
Well, an employer like that, I think again, that they're blindly, depending on where he advertised for the job, but it's just not. I think that's the difference with you guys is you're not blindly looking for any candidate. If he's asking for a controller, you can find candidates for him, and not so he's not looking at 70 resumes.
Oh yeah, definitely
Well,
not.
the title, again, it's controller, but are you a tiny company? Are you a tech company? Are you, controller is such a broad
Yeah.
term.
Mhm.
So you don't know. And so it's like really figuring out from that title controller, okay, what's the industry? What have they worked on in the past? What's the most important things? I always ask the client, what are they looking for? What are the top 5 things that must have in this person's background or experience, or you don't even want to see the resume. I mean, you don't want to talk to them or anything. So that's really what I try to find is the meat and potatoes of what they're looking for. And then what I say is technical side is 40%, 60% is culture fit, tech personality.
Yeah.
Making sure somebody fits in. I mean, and we want people to stay. I mean, we're here to make our clients happy. We want people for long term. We don't want somebody just to go in, and leave,
Yeah, someone a lot smarter than I am actually said recently that accountants can write their ticket anywhere right now, especially higher level accountants, and you have to entice them to stay somewhere, and you entice them with benefits, with culture, with a lot of different factors that are not just about what is the job that you're doing.
Yeah.
Thank you for quoting me on that.
I was actually Reed Matthews.
Well, and I know that certainly with accounting firms, throughout just Sacramento itself. I mean, it's different culture in each firm.
Absolutely.
Very different. So it's people that would be a good fit in one firm, not necessarily a good fit in another firm.
Yeah.
And so I think to find out the culture is real important. So I think that's an important aspect of what you guys do to try to place the right candidate.
Yeah, and we do that by spending a lot of time with people. Our process is where we go through, I do a phone screen with every candidate. It's a very informal phone call, and I just want to get to know them, talk to them about who they are, talk to them about the opportunity, get a feel for their personality. And then we do, like Debbie said earlier, a face-to-face interview, whether it's hopefully in person if they're in Sacramento, but usually it's over a video call, which are always a ton of fun to do.
Yeah.
Everyone loves doing video phone
Yeah.
calls. But we spend a couple hours with people, and we really get to know them. And I often get onto a text message basis with my candidates because
Always.
we become so close that we're almost friends. I'm actually friends with somebody that I placed in Indianapolis recently, and we're going to get together when I go out there.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's what happens to me is clients and candidates always have had, been friends eventually, or they'll call me out of the blue, or
Right.
we'll be friends on Facebook, or, things like that. It's nice because you really get to know people, and people will call you out of the blue that you talked to, I mean, for me, like 20 years ago, and say, hey, do you remember doing this? Well, we've got this opening, and, so I hear back from people all the time.
Yeah, it's a relationship. It's not
Yeah.
a transaction.
Yeah. So tell us, you had mentioned you've got your position in Miami that you're
Mhm.
looking for at this point. And Debbie, what are you looking for at this point?
Right now,
Working
let's
on?
see, I've got a county manager in Dallas. I have
What type of business?
it is with a real estate development company.
Okay.
And then up in Seattle, I have a, it is a construction company, and we're looking again for a senior accountant, kind of towards financial manager type of thing. And then I'm working on the executive, the project executive in the Bay Area, in the San Jose area. And then I have, one other, it's a controller position. So working on that, and that is in Minneapolis.
Okay.
So all over the place.
All over the place. And so, remind me again, I think we talked about this earlier, but do you work with non-accountant as well?
Yeah.
Do you need-
Absolutely. Well,
you
that's,
mentioned some of the stuff in the
yeah,
real estate construction.
schedulers,
Yep,
estimators,
yep.
anything in construction that's more on the
About like
management side.
HR, do you guys do
HR,
HR?
HR directors, managers, and so forth. Really any of the administrative positions that are high level.
Office, someone said, we need an office manager.
Yep.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
the
Do that.
position at the funeral home is actually an office manager,
Okay.
bookkeeper.
Yeah.
We like to stay away from riskier type positions like sales or software developers. There's a lot of opportunity for those people right now.
Right.
And like accountants, but even more so, they can write their own ticket everywhere because they are so specialized. So for the firm, we like to stay lower risk and hire more of the stable type of positions.
Well, and I think for programmers, you really do need that recruiter that works just that, because it's
Yeah, right.
usually just a very specialized skill.
Well, again, today we've been talking with Debbie Williams and Joey Desiderio, both with Clifton Larson on CLA. You can get a hold of them. Debbie is debi.williams at claconnect.com, and Joey is joey.desidero at claconnect.com. If you have questions, you can also call either one of them at 916-784-7800. Thank you so much for listening to the show. It's Mark Bellows, your host of Beyond the Numbers. We'll be back next week. Everyone have a great week.
Thanks, Mark.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
That was
you.
quick.
That was fun.